Oh, Beedy Parker, 68 Washington Street, Camden, and I've lived here for 50 years, and we're part of the Back to the Land movement, mid-70s, but we decided to live in town because then you don't have to drive everywhere, because that's part of the problem, huge problem. So here I am in a sort of urban homestead that has been great for years. Now is having some trouble with growing stuff, but I'm persistent.
So what does it mean for you to persist in that 50-year span?
Well, I never thought I would succeed in any way, but I thought that because of living in third world countries that I had a sort of a purchase on some ideas that we need to live at a lower consumption level, which now is very apparent. But there are also a lot of things like toxics which aren't regulated, and corporations which are just going great guns all over the world. And the fact that learning how to live at a lower consumption level takes time. So I don't know, that's just a small part of my convictions, and I felt that I needed to tell people. I didn't realize how hard it was for everybody to listen because we're so committed to our own lifestyle. So anyway, it's been a long time, and I've worked with MOFGA and other groups.
So with all that experience and cultivating a different way of living for 50 years, and what do you think of this moment? How does it strike you?
Well, this moment is sort of, it's like all the chickens are coming home to roost at the same time. And we have an administration which challenges our survivability, both in terms of social support and also in terms of environmental protection, which we have not addressed adequately. So there's a lot of work to do, and I got a barn full of old signs and displays, table displays, and I just want to share it because now it's becoming more apparent to a lot more people that the time is now to try to get this straight.
How do we get this straight? You mentioned going back to the land. That strikes me in the old world sense of the word radical as a radical move, to prune back to the root, to go back to the core, and to grow from there. Is that what we need to do, or do we need to prevent pruning from happening? What do you see?
We have to do both at the same time. and there's something good about what's happening right now, because it's being made very clear and transparent by the actions of the now government, or president, or whoever, a coalition of two different groups, as I see it, that we have been doing a lot of things wrong. Both parties are very committed to capitalistic and consumption way of living. And I hope that I think it might become more apparent to people that we need to change our ways. Otherwise, we'll be forced to change our ways. So either way, learning how to live gently on the earth as human beings is really essential, whether we do it on purpose or by mistake.
So, with that in mind, what do you see as your place as an individual person, yourself, with your knowledge, your history in this moment? Where do you fit?
My place is as an old person who's tried for a long time and has a lot to say as long as my brain's working, And it seems to be working pretty well so far. The rest of me is not keeping pace, but that's life speaking.
I see you have a bread and puppets poster up in the chimney flue of your kitchen. Do you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, well, that is very much in tune with authenticity. I think this group that is starting up in our area, Bread and Puppets, was parades and puppetry, giant puppetry, which speaks. Anybody can put on a costume, anybody can march. Doing things that anybody can do is part of this. And then there's all the other part, which means going to the legislature or going to our representatives, speaking to our community, the stuff of politics, of standard politics. So it's both. Piece. I want to share my posters and displays and charts and all the things that I've used because I'm a visual person. I can't speak without emotion in the legislature, and you get annulled by any emotion, or you used to. So these are fossil fuel, anti-fossil fuel posters that came out last year by artists around the country, and I had them waterproofed, mounted so that you be used. Now you see everything's gonna have to be, I don't put it back very well. This is about teaching gardening. It's a flip chart. These are about soil. I love this, and a lot of people used to know it. It's a flag that has, the stars are all corporate logos, so it's like United States of Corporations.
Right, that's by Adbusters, isn't it?
I think so. Adbusters was a real, are they still going?
I'm not sure, but they were behind Occupy.
Yeah, well, they were putting out visual in the form of ad technique, and they're brilliant. So this was a magazine for a while. These are from Beehive Collective, which died but is being made available. So this one is about fossil fuels. They're beautiful posters, but they're very, very detailed, and they sort of have to have a speaking part that goes along with them. So I don't know how useful they are, except they teach visual people. And this is something I made back in 2006, which is from the first online version of the fossil fuel, of the climate change emergency, and they would show events which you could click on around the world. And I just put my husband, who was a computer, I don't know, wizard, helped me at that time. Now I don't have that ability anymore. This is something everybody can do. Use caution tape and wrap it around whatever you're talking about, the dangerous part of what you're talking about. And it's so easy to get, and it shows up, and it's great. This is forest trees, because we need to protect the forest, not just for CO2 storage, not just for wood, but for the water storage, and the too much water and the not enough water, which is just pouring down on us or not available at all. Yeah, that's Bread and Puppets. This is a beautiful banner that Peter Schumann made. Now, I need to give these back to the frames back to the Democrats. This is more of a mess. I've got blackboards that are useful with chalk. This is something that's about global warming, which is good for tabling. Here's some of the tape. I mean, I can't really show you because it's sort of such a crunch of stuff. So that's why I have this list. that people could refer to if they're looking for particular, or just thinking of the subjects. I don't know what to say about this, but I have 65 file boxes of all the different activities over 50 years. And you think, well, maybe, that's only one box and a bit a year. So that's reference, and I cannot get, well, I don't know, trying to pass it on is impossible. Although the PFAS people used a little bit of it because we were opposing sludge on the land. And even though we were concentrating on heavy metals, I knew about the halogenic chemicals as well. We just didn't talk about them and had no clue that the PFAS thing was happening. And now PFAS is driving the anti-toxics movement, which is great. And MOFGA's doing it. So that's part of the file system. Most of it's upstairs and in the house. Let's see. Oh, this is. Just to mention, I've got card tables and folding tables people can borrow. This thing, which I don't know if you can see it, says, "What's in this tomato?" This is the beginning of the children's parade at the fair, at the Common Ground Fair. Two of us, Martha Gottlieb and I, walked around dressed as tomatoes with these tall poles with lots of dangling signs on them saying, "What's on this tomato? Do you know?" And then all this stuff about pesticide use. And that's what's left. But it's a fun thing to do, and one or two people can do it. And you use a big piece of a tree and carry it around. So I don't know whether you want to show anybody that. I made that a long time ago. It's too ugly and mean and anti-man for me to want to use it, and yet it's based on the ad "I'd Rather Fight Than Switch," which is about smoking, and I felt that this applied to toxic masculinity. So there's the finance on one side and the military violent on the other side.